what are the other type of infrastructure type acquisitions or builds or other types of acquisitions that you've been considering? Not necessarily specifics, but what have you been looking at?
Yeah, no, again, I think, with Beta Hunt, it makes sense, given the geology and the location, to look for things, that are, nearby that asset. And there are other things that we've looked at in the past that are, nearby. I think right now it'll take, we'll focus on consolidating those two assets and extracting, all the value we want to get from there. But, again, if an opportunity to infill, a nearby opportunity that can provide feed at low cost, into that mill, those are the kind of things that we'll continue to look for, in that part of the world. And then on Dumont, the focus is really going to be on finding a funding partner to take it into construction, as quickly as possible.
Sorry, I will get on to Dumont. I just want to very quickly finish off on Beta Hunt, because it's obviously there's a lot been going on, and you've done everything at such an accelerated time frame. It's been quite impressive. On the AISC, what are the other things that you're looking at reducing the AISC? Because the AISC's, around sort of $1,100 at the moment. You need to get that down. What's happening?
Yeah, no, I mean, the key things going forward, one's obviously the milling cost. Two is going to be scaling up the mining operation there. Again, there's a bunch of fixed costs at a mine. If you can, increase the rate you're mining at, that's going to help bring down those costs going forward. A lot of the drilling results that have been exciting in the Western Flanks area, the structures look like it's getting quite large, and that gives you more flexibility in terms of being able to use lower cost mining methods to pull that ore out. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be looking to, have discussions with the royalty company at the right time in terms of, is there a change to that royalty structure that makes sense for both of us.
Right, and I mean, he manages you mentioned technology there. I mean, he manages, is that an outsourced thing, or do you have your own in-house team managing the technical component?
Oh, in terms of the mine itself, we have our inside technical services group. So,
right, okay, great. So, okay, let's get back to Dumont. It's a huge operation. You talked about JVing, finding the right partner to JV with. You've begun conversations. I mean, where are you?
We've had discussions. Again, given our relationships in the nickel industry, we know all the leading players in Japan, Korea, and elsewhere, and so nickel prices spiked in 2014-15 briefly, but at that time, we advanced discussions with a number of groups to provide different components to the financing package. Today, it's just a matter of we've kept a number of those discussions warm, so it's just a matter of once this updated feasibility study out is, those will sort of kickstart discussions, going forward.
So when that's due out, Q3 of this year?
It'll be out this quarter at some point.
Right, fantastic. Okay, so everyone's sort of sitting back, waiting to see what's happening. So how much time are you allocating? I mean, I look at the board, and they've got a lot of advisors there. It's grown rapidly as well. Some pretty big names on there. I mean, how much time are you allocating between the different assets? Because you've also got 3 different exploration assets as well, haven't you?
Yeah. No, the key thing there is, again, I mean, we have people and teams are dedicated to each of those asset groups. So. Again, given the activity and the focus of the company right now is gold and Beta Hunt, I'm spending, large majority of my time, on Beta Hunt right now. But, there is a block of time on Dumont. And then, again, we've got some great people with Dave Christie running Orford. He doesn't need too much help from me in terms of driving that asset forward.
Okay. So what I'd like to do, and I know we don't have much time today, but I'd like to come back to maybe have a conversation with you another time around the technical component of the assets, and perhaps that's something we can do with your head of geology, etc. But with the time we've got left, can we talk about the finances and financing? So you've announced recently a financing, $12 million. That was, why did you do that? And, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, so again, we had this coming, $25 million potential payment if we had to exercise the option.
Right.
Again, the risk of announcing an option to do something without the financing fully in place at that point is, the market, sells off in advance, thinking that you're going to come to the market with the big raise. So we thought it was important to do that raise, at that point in time. If the deal did not go forward, we'd be able to use that cash to do more exploration at Beta Hunt. As I've said to investors before, I said, if there's someone like Osisko owned this asset, there'd be 12 drill rigs going. There's just that many targets to go after. And so, so we put that in place, with that and with the financing that we're, looking at right now. And again, we're making good progress on a number of non-dilutive financing opportunities. We'll have, the cash that we need to complete the deal, and the cash we'll need to continue to move those assets going forward.
And obviously the large nuggets that are at the end of their world tour, perhaps a monetization event there.
We're monetizing those, which we'll feed into our cash flow.
Can you give us a sort of sense of what they're worth? Because I'm not quite sure of how you go about selling something like that.
Yeah, basically, we're looking at premiums somewhere. We've been offered, somewhere between 50 and 100% type premiums for most of the stones. So, we'll be, working with some advisors to get those out the door sooner than later.
Right. But no sense of what range you'd expect there.
Oh, no, well, 50 to 100% premium on top of the gold value.
Right. But do you know what that gold value is?
Oh, so we do. So, we have almost 4,000 ounces in specimens. So, that creates another 2,000 to 4,000 ounces worth of value for us.
We can do the maths. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned your rather impressive board and some of the names on there, but you've also got some impressive shareholders, not least of which is certain Mr. Eric Sprott. What's his involvement? Is he involved actively in the business, or is he just a shareholder?
No, I think he's just a shareholder. We do talk from time to time, and he also publicly expresses opinions as well. I think the key thing is he likes high grade gold exposure. As soon as the announcement came out in the fall, he acquired his position at that point in time. When we first discovered gold, high grade gold, traditionally where it was found at Beta Hunt alongside the nickel deposits, he had become an investor at that point in time as well. So. He basically came back in and upped his position.
Okay. But I just want to ask.
And he's great, and we're great to have a really great gold investor like Eric involved in the story.
For sure, but he has been vocal in the market. He's said that he'd like more guidance from the company. Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, no, I think it's not typical of a junior to have sort of two major assets and you've got a gold in Australia and nickel in Quebec. And so, I think, investors, including him, kind of want to know where we are, where we're going with both. And I think, once the feasibility studies at Dumont, we're kind of talking about what's going to happen on that front. I think it'll be very clear to investors there. Again, just want to drive home, most of my net worth is tied up in this company. And so, we will, I'm not here to build an empire. I'm here to create value for shareholders. And if it means both those assets get sold by September, great. If it means we have to continue to advance and develop them for another 12 months, then we'll continue to advance and develop them, over that time frame.
Okay, no, I think that's fair enough. So, I think your answer would be that it's a fair comment. You're looking to issue more guidance and you're looking to create more value because you're aligned with shareholders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
More clarity around it for sure. And again, I think. We have a gold investing base today. And I think, for those gold shareholders who are nervous that we're going to sort of cross-subsidize things or sort of muck things up a little bit, to be very, very clear, there is a pile of cash in the Dumont joint venture that is funding those activities. And so today, that Dumont is a self-funding entity, self-funding asset at this point in time.
And which is great. I mean, that's fantastic for shareholders. I mean, but when do you think the entire operation becomes self-funding? Because obviously people they're looking at their shares to go up in value. So self-funding is the moment where things get exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for Dumont, again, with Dumont to be able to take it to the next stage beyond the feasibility study is really to a construction decision, and at that point in time, we'd like to have, a big project partner come in and work with us and Waterton in terms of, being able to help provide the remaining capital that'll, take it through to production so that hopefully, the amount of dilution that's required to get that project going, will be, very low or zero going forward. Again, we can spin that out into a separate entity. We can joint venture it into a separate entity with somebody else. there's a full range of options that we're open to and looking at.